Hi everyone, we're back again with another review, this time for Mrs Doubtfire. Before we get into Mrs Doubtfire, there's something that I have to ask Ruby.
Yeah.
Because I didn't ask you on the last one.
No.
So the last one that you did was Encanto. Out of 10, with 10 being the best and 1 being the worst, how much would you give Encanto?
10 out of 10.
Right. Now,
This one I'll give 10 out of 10.
don't spoil it. Do it at the end. So, Mrs Doubtfire is one of those films that I really enjoy. It's one of my favourite films.
Me too.
Okay. It's one of Nana Tracy's favourite films.
Don't say that in recording.
Why? It's okay. And
Didn't know who.
do you know how old this film is?
What?
This film was released in 1993, right? Which is the same year that Auntie Charlotte was born.
Well, that's cool.
Okay. So, if you're unaware, it stars Robin Williams, Sally Field, Pierce Brosnan, and it features a recently divorced actor, Daniel Hurd, who loses access to his children because of the divorce, and he has to try and think of a way which he can sort of see his children again. So he, for whatever reason, decides to dress up as an old woman, Euphegenia Doubtfire, and he basically mimics a nanny so that he can see his kids again. It's a very funny film. It's quite dramatic as well in places. It's quite emotional in places. Just having a look on the Wikipedia, it says that at a $25 million budget, it grossed $441 million off that budget. So it was the second highest grossing film of the year. And it receives mixed reviews initially, but I think it's one of those that sort of stood the test of time, and over time people have kind of come around to it a little bit more since then. So for us, Rubes, why are you waving?
No, I'm done. So when I wave this one, this is my right hand. Look. Look.
Oh yeah, because it's mirrored.
It's wrong.
It's mirrored from what you see. There. Right.
Hang on.
That was just my chair. Thanks for pointing it out. What's your favourite thing in Mrs Doubtfire?
My favourite thing is when the daddy turns into Mrs Doubtfire, because it's so funny.
So what bits happen that are funny?
He gets dressed into the dad.
Yeah.
And then the most funniest thing, his mouth is squashed, and he put his face in a cake, and it's funny.
So this is when Mrs Zellner comes round, and Mrs Zellner meets Mrs Doubtfire.
Yeah.
She can't know that he is Daniel as well. So she says, "Oh, I want to talk to Daniel," so he has to quickly try and undress. But then she says, "Oh, I want to talk to Mrs Doubtfire again," so he's got to quickly go and get dressed. And he knocks his face out the window.
And the two boys laughing, and then he turns around and the boys laugh.
The boys are laughing, but then what happens to his face? His mask.
He was shutting the curtains, and then his face turned down, and his mask fell, and the van squashed
The van comes and runs over it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then he knocks on the door to his best friend, and then gets a new one, and then he doesn't squash it.
But he needs a new face to talk to Mrs. Zellner, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So how does he?
To Mrs. Doubtfire, and then he has no mask, and then Mrs. Owner thinks it's Daniel, but it's Mrs. Doubtfire. He's turning into Mrs. Doubtfire because she might think.
So how does he get a new face?
He goes and knocks on his best friend.
No. Before that, he needs a face to talk to Mrs. Zellner. So what does he do? He opens the fridge.
He opens the fridge and puts his face in the cake.
He puts his face in the cake, and he goes, "Hello!"
Hello!
And then all of his face starts melting and dropping into the tea.
Yeah,
and the coffee.
Yeah, and Mrs. Owner, there's cake on his face, and then he does that, and he licks it and says, "Oh, this is a little bit yummy."
Because it's cake.
Yeah. Cake is yummy.
One of my favourite bits that always makes me laugh is when they take the boys and girls swimming. The mum's new boyfriend takes the boys and girls swimming, and Mrs Doubtfire gets an orange and throws an orange at the back of his head.
Yeah, that's funny too. I like that.
She says, "Oh, it was a run by fruiting."
Yeah, that's funny too. I like that bit too.
Any other bits that you've not mentioned that you want to talk about?
at the beginning,
Mm.
there's a pie, and the mum doesn't like pies because because the credit.
Well, he gets all the animals there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then the
And then
pony starts eating the cake. Oh, go on, you say it.
And then the mum.
The pony starts eating the cake.
That is.
Go on, you say it then.
And then the mum.
Stop
it.
on.
Then the mum brings back a cake, and then the pony eats the cake, and
Never.
then the mum says, "Shoot, shoot, shoot!" Because he doesn't want the pony to eat the cake, because that is the boy's cake. And then she unplugs the wire because the music stops, and guess what?
Mm.
The mum shouts at Daniel, and the Daniel shouts at mum because he is so mad.
And then that's when they split up. Then that's
Yeah.
when they go their separate ways. Now I'll be honest, Rubes. I watched this morning. You didn't really watch this morning, did you?
Playing my Barbies.
You were playing me about Barbies.
I don't care about the stuff there.
What?
I do.
I thought you liked it. That's why we're doing this.
I do.
Such a liar. So I pretty much watched it this morning. You watched bits of it and were too busy playing with your Barbies, but you've seen it before. Now you picked this one.
And the funniest bit is this. The
Right.
bit was a hot dog.
So hang on. You picked this one to do, yeah, and you've picked the other one that we're going to do this week. Oh no, I picked the other one. Right, shh. Don't you telling everybody for now? Right, but there's another one that we have to do as well, so we're going to talk about that in a minute. But okay, your hot dog one, right? So when Daniel's trying to get a job, and she says, "Do you have any special skills?" and he says, "Yes, I do voices," and he does a lot of different voices, and he says, "I do a great impression of a hot dog."
And guess what? Mrs. Owner said, "What do you mean you do voices?"
Yeah, and then he does a lot of silly voices, doesn't
I.
he? Was that a silly voice?
Yeah.
No.
And then this is.
So I think you were more bothered about coming in here today and looking at yourself on that screen and doing more talking than actually talking like Mrs Doubtfire, weren't you? You just like talking, don't you? Wearing your zombies t-shirt.
Yeah.
No.
Zombie too.
Right. So this week we are doing 2 more films. One of them we are going watching tomorrow at the cinema because we're going to go back to the cinema and we're watching DC League of Super Pets because apparently she now wants to watch that.
I do.
But we're in one of the screens that's got the nice new chairs in, so we can put the feet up and stuff like that. Okay.
Hello.
And then we'll come back and do some talking about that.
Hook.
And then on Thursday, I said because you like it, we can watch Hook and we can come and talk about Hook.
Give me the hook.
Right. So we'll do Hook.
Yeah,
But I want to talk a little bit about Hook on Thursday because there's some stuff that I think is very interesting about Hook that you don't know. Okay, so we'll talk about it on Thursday. But that means Thursday morning you need to actually watch it. Yeah?
Are
Are you actually going to watch it on Thursday morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
Good luck and look.
Right, that's it then, because again, clearly Mrs. Doubtfire's gone well. It's a great film. She doesn't appreciate it as much as she should do. Ruby, if you were giving Mrs. Doubtfire out of 10, what would you give it?
10 out of 10.
Even though you've just said that you don't care about it.
I do. I'm
You're
joking.
such a liar.
Okay,
You know what's a rubbish film? You know what's a rubbish film that we should talk about? Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Because it's absolute dog doo-doo. It's Bob. It's an absolute poo film, and for some reason you like it.
I love
It's absolute poo. Right, get
Can we
away.
talk about it?
I don't want to.
Yeah, I do.
Well, yeah, if I can sit here and tell you how much I don't like it, because it's rubbish. I love it because I love everything.
It's the best of my life, and you should be watching it right now.
Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to go and help sponsor the podcast, or help support the podcast, I should say, go to our sponsor, Offworld Tees, and use the code Farrand. That's FARRAND for 15% off your order. Follow me on Twitter at Adam Farrand. Follow me also on Twitter at Farrand Film. I have got another Twitter for a project that I'm starting soon, but I'm not going to share that just yet. It's another podcast project that I'm quite excited to start up. But more details on that probably in the more sensible videos where a child isn't present.
Oh, Dad, look, it says my name, Ruby.
Oh, well done.
I made that name.
Stay safe, look after each other. See you next time, Ruby.
Bye, love you. Promise to watch that one live ago. Amazing, please.